Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff with co-host Chip. What is going on, everyone? What's going on, Chip? Chip, looks like you had some sun
Got some
today,
sun. Got a little bit of sun today. On the
and that's
boat all day,
awesome.
Jeff, having some fun.
Out on the boat, having fun, drinking, enjoying, relaxing, all while XRP, the crypto bull market, Chip, is it here? Is it real? Brad Garlinghouse, super concerned about some things going on, major political implications. We're going to discuss various topics related to, you guessed it, the cryptocurrency industry. First up, big news about XRP, XRPL, Brad Garlinghouse, Gary Gensler, and all the others that you guys love
And the
care
fake
about.
engine,
And the fake engine.
the one who misappropriated someone else's race and culture and got away with it like it was no big deal, Jeff.
That's right. And she's trying to raise an anti-crypto army. So you know how that's going to go.
I know exactly how it's going. We've been forming the army since 2009. Let's go. You guys ready?
Let's go. Let's go.
Do it.
Welcome to On the Chain.
You got a little drink of water, Jeff. I
Dude,
saw you
dude.
there. I saw you got that little drink of water. Guys, drop where you're coming in from, wherever you're coming in from. We have a worldwide audience. What we love about it, obviously we include you in all the conversation. Decentralized is what we're all about. We talk about the founding of the U.S. was decentralized, all based on rights of the states and the power there. And the government was supposed to do some things, and the government's got a little overzealous lately, but we talk about what's going on in your neck of the woods. So drop your city, drop your country, say hello, and then give us like one thing that you love about your country. Just find out one thing, just drop it in there. We'll throw those up there as well.
One great thing, shout it out. And I also want to give a quick shout out to Carla Spalding. She's on with us tonight, not here live with us, but she is in the chat.
You got to get her on live, Jeff.
And we are planning on it. I had a nice conversation with Carla this afternoon. We're definitely going to bring her on here on the show to talk about, guess what? She's running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Thank you.
So if you guys are here in South Florida and you know who Debbie Wasserman Schultz is, or if you're somewhere around the country and you still know who Debbie Wasserman Schultz is, you'll know she's got to go. And she's another one that's anti-crypto. So out with the old, in with the new. And Carla did a great job. The last time around, she came really close. She was like, 45% of the vote. So, there's this next time around 2024, it's going to be a big election for everyone, big election for those that are pro crypto, pro freedom, pro all those great things. So
which Carla is all the above there. So that's another good thing. And I do believe that there's enough people that are a little bit tired because, let's face it, Jeff, I mean, where we live, a little bit on the blue side, but that's changing, especially if you look what happened in Miami-Dade this last election cycle. So the red team is pretty popular here today in the free state of Florida. So that's also good as well. So let me see what we got going on in the chat. But Jeff, I think I wanted to lead. Just let's get people riled up early here because one of the things we talked about is I want to pull this one clip up, and it's short. That's the best part about it. But this is Senator Warren, obviously somebody who we all know well, who's building this anti-crypto army. This is what she's going to have $20 a day for daycare. Okay, she missed what happened around the last president that was in there in the White House. She missed all that child care stuff that happened, but they just kind of try to reinvent that. So that's her platform she's running on. The big one is she's building an anti-crypto army. But Jeff, let's watch this clip because if she's against crypto, then we have to ask, what is she into?
What is she into?
Let's find out.
You think we could improve that in a digital world? The answer is sure you could. But in that case, let's do a central bank digital currency.
Are you there?
Oh, for a central bank digital currency? Yeah. Yes. I think it's time for us to move.
She's Jeff, she thinks it's time.
Much is she getting?
Yeah, now if you really want to know, interesting, loves the centralized power, right? This is like we get a lot of this in Congress, right? The centralization, let's control it. You guys don't know. You're not smart enough to figure out what to do with your money. You just don't know. Well, let's listen to this again. She's like, are you in? Oh, yes. I'm in on centralization. The word central's there, Jeff. I'm in on it. And this is the funny thing, the way the press spins it. It's digital, right? It's digital. Well, pull out your phone right now, pull up your bank account, and it's digital. And what's causing a lot of these bank collapses? Well, that digital money is not really there. So, we get a bank run And people are so surprised, Jeff. Like, well, the bank runs, and I can't believe if everyone pulls their money out now, and it's so easy to do that. I'm like,
So
it's been
easy.
easy for the last 30 years. It's not there. Nothing's changed. What's changed is sentiment. But here she goes. Let's listen to this one more time.
You think we could improve that in a digital world? The answer is sure you could. But in that case, let's do a central bank digital currency.
Are you there?
Oh, for a central bank digital currency? Yes.
Oh.
I think it's time for us to move.
Oh yeah, it's certainly time, Jeff. What are your thoughts on that?
It's time. Let's do it. Let's go all in on the central bank digital currency. And this is on the heels of her bashing cryptocurrency, bashing decentralization, bashing blockchain tech, supporting Gary Gensler, the chair of the SEC, to push all that amazing innovation offshore. So she's buddies. Obviously, we know that Gary Gensler has written many of her speeches when it comes to cryptocurrency and the animosity that she shows and the disdain that she shows for it, the disdain that she shows for all people in this country that just want to make a better life for themselves.
I just don't know. I mean, and the thing about it is, Jeff, is like we always bring this analogy up, but you go to Vegas, you're like, we're not really worried about you going to Vegas and just blowing it all, and ended up on Fremont Street there with some crazy people that are walking around there. Nope, that's cool. We're all good with that. That's not a problem. Yeah, we got to get Carl on here and really do whatever we can to obviously help this campaign. It was funny because Debbie Wasserman Schultz, when everything hit the fan a couple years ago, when all of this corruption was, all of a sudden everything went pretty quiet on the front. You used to see her run to a microphone every time she could, and of course, if you know the fabulous Rush Limbaugh used to call her Debbie Blabbermouth Schultz, because that's kind of like that nickname kind of stuck. But she now all of a sudden I've noticed her popping up places again, Jeff. It's almost like, did that blow over? There's so much other stuff going on right now. Did that stuff blow over?
Yeah, I think she's feeling a little bit more confident. They had her stay quiet for a long time. This last election cycle, she came out of the woodworks a little bit. All of her, all the union support, and they had their henchmen pretty much at every polling site, and all paid. And so there's a big differentiator when you have to pay every single person that is supposedly helping to volunteer and support you. We know that just being a boots on the ground for all these candidates, including everything amazing things that Carl has done here for South Florida and ramping up her campaign. It's not easy. It's an uphill battle. The blue team, pretty much outnumbers the red team here. However, the independent vote is a big differentiator in the outcome. So as long as the independents come across, those are the non-party affiliation, there's a big number, and that upsets the balance, which will take Debbie Wasserman Schultz out. And so that's the dynamics of South Florida. It's interesting too, Chip, because as you know, we've got an amazing mayor down in Miami who's very pro crypto. And there's a lot of great things that are happening in Miami in relation to cryptocurrency and the drive towards that, plus DeSantis pushing for new legislation to keep central bank digital currencies out of Florida and to support innovation and to bring about amazing technology and hopefully to attract all that amazing tech here to Florida. They don't need to be in California. Be good to see Ripple should just take all of their take their ball, and they should come down here and set up shop down in South Florida. So
incredible. So let's get to some other Ripple news here, guys.
And there's
didn't Wasserman Schultz get caught with their hand in the cookie jar? Yeah, absolutely, right. There was such an IT catastrophe that happened. I mean, yeah, I mean, we probably should dig into it and review, but it was so incredibly swept under the carpet so quickly, and it's such mass corruption. That IT guy, I mean, it was deep, man. But I just probably not the venue here tonight. But man, I mean, there's
there's a lot to it, and we're gonna see how this Congress, there's gonna be clear party line division with the cryptocurrency legislation. However, that being said, we have some amazing support within the crypto space, from some on the blue team, like Darren Soto up in Orlando, congressman, Democrat, who is a huge proponent of crypto legislation and pro crypto legislation, believes in innovation, believes in making sure that this technology stays here in the US. And just, it's always important to remind everybody, because, with Warren Davidson, and if you guys haven't seen our interview with Warren Davidson, go to onthechain.io, do a quick search for Warren Davidson and check out that interview. Also Tom Emmer and, many others soon, Carla Spalding. But it's very important to remember, Darren Soto was there hand in hand with Warren Davidson, as he is currently with Tom Emmer on some very pro crypto legislation.
Yeah, some good stuff. We got to get back on. We got to get Tom Emmer and Warren Davidson back on. They're pretty busy these days. A lot going on in Congress. French Hill would be great to have on here. We have a lot going on with, and I'd love to get Darren Soto on here. I'd love to have Darren Soto come on and talk. I mean, he was there at the very beginning when Warren Davidson he's co-sponsored the token taxonomy that was rolled out almost 4 years ago. So it's not like, I know they keep talking about the one in the Senate, but that's not the good one. But I have a feeling that will rear its ugly head first. It seems like
maybe there's some new things going on right now with Darren Soto's office, because the last time I reached out, this is all I got.
Yeah, has also reached out, and when I found out that he was from the team, all of a sudden ties were cut, Jeff. So it's like it's like no more conversations. But look, I mean, we don't have to agree on everything. The thing that's bipartisan is crypto, right? It's this whole idea of decentralization and freedom. It's not a red or blue team item. It's a human item, and it's something that we all want. And it's like we can't make it a partisan issue. It's got to be a bipartisan. It's the only way it's going to go through. And will we agree on everything? Probably not. But I think there's enough common. It's probably one of the few places we can find common ground, Jeff. I don't know if we'll find it anywhere else, but let's jump over to this. Check this out.
Let's go into something good.
This one was in the crypto news. Ripple CEO raises concerns over Gensler's recent comments, right? So it goes on here, and I've got the
the actual tweet.
I've got the tweet. The tweet? There it is. Yeah. So there it is.
Look at that guy's face.
Look at that. So the block put out that thing about, the Gensler basically made a statement paraphrasing something along the line. We don't really need legislation because it's clear, right? It's pretty clear.
It's clear. It's unnecessary.
It's unnecessary. There's no really reason to. Don't worry about it, which is contradictory to what he said in the past. But Brad Garlinghouse,
but before you get the other point that Gensler had brought up wasn't just it's not necessary, but he also said that he cautioned the legislators from making a mistake and creating problems, and it was it was a very underhanded way of insulting the majority of those that are in Congress by basically, insinuating that he knows best, he knows the law better than anybody, and he knows financial currency and economics better than anybody else. He's kind of putting himself in a class of one, and it was really a very bad statement that he put out there, because as everybody knows, legislation is necessary. So let's hear what Brad had to say, Chip.
So Brad Garlinghouse said, for the chair of the SEC to assert that he dictates what is a security and not for the legislation to come from which his agency derives its power, it's beyond comprehension. It's time for elected officials in the U.S. to take notice. It's beyond time, Jeff. He goes on to say that when you behave like an autocrat running a $2.2 billion bloated agency, why would you ever want to provide clarity about what's in or out without clear jurisdiction, ambiguity, and masquerades as power? Read that again. Go ahead. You read it, Jeff. I tripped on ambiguity.
Let me read it this time. When you behave like an autocrat or an unelected bureaucrat running a $2.2 billion bloated agency because he asked for a lot more from Congress, why would you ever want to provide clarity about what's in or out? I mean, that's a really clear statement. There's no motivation on his side to change anything. He would rather it go status quo. Why? Because he keeps all the power. Now, there is that conflict here, is that the CFTC is the one that really should have authority and oversight within crypto. And there are some laws that are clear and there's others that are very murky. And Gary Gensler is trying to make everything clear. And so Brad Garlinghouse goes on, without clear jurisdiction, which there isn't, ambiguity masquerades as power. And that's true. When everything's just messy and confusing and nobody knows up from down, then that's when those unelected bureaucrats step in and they seize power. And it's easy to seize power because they look how confusing everything is. We don't know. That's why I'm the one in charge.
It is something, isn't it, Jeff? I mean, it's
Crazy.
it's getting to be a little bit beyond. I think that was all I had to say. Read it again. I think that's it. You just read it again. Look at there's some stuff.
And you just keep reading it.
It's bad Photoshop, but I like the Clint Eastwood in the background.
Where did Clint Eastwood come from in the background?
That's a little bit disproportionate, but
He looks like a sad-faced clown.
we can always show the picture of me and Brad Garlinghouse. I have to dig up that. Yeah, the sad.
That was a very cool picture of you and
He's always a sad looking.
Garlinghouse.
He's always a sad looking clown. Unlimited power,
Unlimited power. There can be only one.
It can be only one, Jeff, and I don't know what he's bloviating around here, but I'm sure there's something going on here.
So Devon says, is Gensler the Fauci of the crypto world? If yes, be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yeah,
come on, guys. The rules are clear.
It's clear. It's all clear. But at least he didn't. At least he didn't fake some papers and then said he didn't write it. But then it turns out he did write it. So it's a little bit different. I mean, but the rules in a weird way are kind of similar, but they're just a little bit different. I mean,
sometimes bad Photoshops make for better ones.
Yeah, sometimes the worst Photoshop, all and stuff, but it makes it even funnier. You're right about that. Yeah, there's something about that. Yeah, there's something good about that. Hang on a second, Jeff. I'm in the public hugs thing. I gotta put a little message in there and tell everybody we're live. Guys, go ahead and tweet this out, please.
Live. That is true. We are, and there's some really important news that has come up. So on the side of all the chaos, and there is a lot of chaos, and there's a crisis going on right now on one side of the aisle, which has actually caused massive chaos throughout the economic structures. But while that is all going on, and we're seeing a big bullish wave, Chip, there's some amazing stuff going on. Why? Because there are some pretty cool technical features that are coming out on the ledger. And they're going into kind of like a test environment. And right here, so if you don't know what the XRPL is, go and research it a little bit. But there have been a dramatic increase in the transactions on the ledger. But what is amazing right now, we've talked about the side chains before, and so this has gone back, months ago. But what's happening right now is that that sidechain support for the XRPL is now available for testing, and so a lot of stuff going on. They want people to test it out, check the features, bugs, network issues, all this other stuff. And we can get into and talk about the side chains in detail, but there's also an introduction of the EVM, which is the Ethereum virtual machine. And so there's a lot going on. And I think from a smart contract, we've talked about Flare use EVM. Flare also has cross-chain compatibility. A lot of amazing things going on. Additionally, due to popular demand for a native smart contract-like functionality, the team also unveiled hooks. So as these are going into testnet, Chip, there's some amazing things getting ready to happen, I think.
Right, but it still has to go up for a vote, and it has to have the majority for 2 weeks, and it's got to get the. But still, the thing is that you test it out first, and doing a test out of it first, and make it viable, and they're like, okay, this is what it does. Okay, great, then you can go ahead and vote on it. But the fact that we're getting so close. Well, Jeff, it was maybe this time last year where we started hearing about NFTs on the XRPL, and it seemed almost unbelievable. It's like what? It almost seemed like it wasn't going to be one of those things, but when it went up for the vote, then there was some kind of a security thing, if I remember. Something was going on. But anyway, it did go ahead and pass. It did get that 8% consensus for 2 weeks from the validators, and they went ahead and voted on it. But I mean, right now, we're talking about the badass Yetis launching on the XRPL chain. I mean, this is something Jeff and I were waiting for, and it kind of like we were waiting for it. It kind of happened, and now so we're excited to launch on the XRPL. which is really cool. So a lot of great projects out there as well. XRP, Jeff.
XRP.
XRP.
XRP. And if you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe, hit the bell notifier. Make sure you guys get notified every time we go live. Go check out onthechain.io and all that good stuff. What else we got, Chip?
Well, we got another. I want to get into this here because, so, you know, the Xumm wallet, we talk about Xumm, you know, it's actually pronounced Xumm, according to Xumm, 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 and that's it's a phenomenal wallet, cold storage wallet for you can put it on your phone, right? Whether it's Android or iPhone or Apple, doesn't really matter, but it really is one of my favorite wallets. It's super easy to use. There's a lot of cool little apps for it. And the one that I like for the NFTs, and the name escapes me at the moment. I'll pull it up. One of these days, I just gotta be able to pull this up on the screen. But so Jeff and I wanted to get, you know, go ahead and subscribe. We're talking about subscribing to the pro version, right? And we're going through the documentation. And I finally put on Twitter, like, hey, let me throw this up there. I finally go like, hey, it's win. Like, how do you get Xumm wallet? Because it says open it up, click on the X app, and then you hit the button to subscribe. And so everybody and their mother and then some other people chimed in about it. So one of them people called me lazy. Chip, you're lazy. You just have to click the button. I'm like, dude, there's no button. Okay. So I was like, so Twin said, yeah, that's a sad story. Apple demanded we'd remove the Get Pro option from the X app. So getting Pro, thank you, is now part of the Tandem card order flow. And so I was like, you know, man, so let me open this up. There it is. This is it right here. So the Xumm cards and Tandem. So the cool thing about it, they're actually working on a page where you can go over here, because there's a lot of other apps too that if you buy it an app, Apple takes 30%, and people are flipped out by that. But I got news for you, YouTubers, creators. Anytime you guys are you know, super generous and give us a super chat, or you know, you buy one of those what are they called, a super thanks. If you're watching on the replay, you know, Google also takes 30% who owns YouTube, but it's a lot of money. Yeah, that's how it goes, right? You want to be on their network, and that's how it goes. But the fact is, so you can go over here and you get these cool XRP cards and stuff. But what comes with this is Pro, and Pro also gives you the ability to KYC your as well. I think the Pro version, and which is actually really cool. And then I went on to say, hey, thanks for the explanation. I'm usually a pretty big Apple fan, but not when they pull stuff like this.
No, I mean, yeah, if they told them to get rid of the Pro, you know, and they don't like the word Pro, maybe it competes with Apple's iPhone.
Well, it wasn't that.
I mean, is that it? What is it competing with? Why, you know, why did they want them to pull down the Pro? How did it?
No, it wasn't because of the Pro. The thing is that you have to use their mechanism. Their mechanism, you pay with Apple Pay or a credit card. And so if you're in the crypto world and you don't offer a way to pay with XRP, and they're basically the Pro, you buy it with XRP. So it's like you don't want to be able to use fiat, right, to buy it. So that's where and I think we chimed in. Yeah. He chimed in here. Here it is right here. Yeah, we asked for XRP payments. Apple forces the in-app Apple Pay with 30% for Apple, card only. We don't want a card. We want XRP. So the Xumm 2.40 update wouldn't have been there if we wouldn't have removed the in-app XRP payment option for Pro. So we did. So it's like, so you see what I mean? So we're having this like sort of disconnect between what's going on in the real world and card payments versus, you know, and honestly, for me, I love Apple Pay, and, you know, Google Pay is pretty much the same thing. You go onto a website and you're on your phone. Do you want to spend an hour typing all that stuff on that little screen and screwing it up and then clicking the button? Or do you want to be able to click a button, use your biometrics and say, hey, pay with Google Pay, pay with Apple Pay, click, I authorize it, and it's done. It already has my address, I like that. Right? But in this case, there's no option for XRP. And so
not yet. You know, I think, you know, Chip, they're trying to fight back. They're going to keep fighting and bucking back, you know, the system. And eventually they're not going to be able to do it anymore. I mean, it's becoming really clear on a global scale that as we move towards a digital currency, whether it's a fiat-based central backed digital currency, you know, or if it's going to be a decentralized asset, at some point they're going to have to say, hey, you know what, there's another way, or the mechanism, the payment mechanism is going to automatically do that transaction. That's the beauty of XRP and the XRPL, is that it has a DEX built right into it. So there's a methodology, if the technology is being utilized, to actually make that conversion. And maybe that'll make an Apple happy. They want to stick with their old school ways. They stick with their old school ways.
Well, what's really interesting, what I find really interesting, Jeff, is that what's happened in the tech world as of late, right? Google was the 800-pound gorilla, right? It was the immovable force. It was the one that owned everything. And so when you think about this, like, well, how did a really, and some of the source code for ChatGPT started at Google, like from 2014, 15, some of the open source stuff. So a really interesting theory came out of this is that I think OpenAI has 160, 170 people working on this. Google had over 3,000 people on it. How did OpenAI totally beat them to the punch and hire a lot of really important people away from even Google and some other organizations? A lot of what they said was they eliminated a lot of the bottlenecks. They didn't have project managers. They didn't have a lot of interim people that were that sort of middle step. Because if you ever worked in a dev culture, Jeff, the project manager will always, instead of committing code and having a test net and testing it and seeing if it works, be like, oh, we got to go through this and we got to click on this and then we got to do that. I don't know if we should do it. So you had a lot of bottlenecks holding stuff back. Meanwhile, they're throwing everything up there, seeing what's stuck. If it worked, it didn't. They rolled it back. Where the Google side of the house was very traditional, this old sort of school way. And that's how they bested them. And then IBM came in, or I'm sorry, not IBM, but Microsoft came in, and that CEO is absolutely on fire. He comes in, invests $8 billion in the company, and owns 50% of it. Checkmate.
It's really it's impressive. If we take a step back and you look at the war that's been waged now for 40 plus years between Apple and Microsoft, and there was a little blip in the way, which is Amazon, or Amazon, Google. Google's a little bit of a blip in the way, and obviously it was a major disruptor, especially when we look at how Chrome disrupted all control that Microsoft had over the browser space. They also disrupted the phone space, completely decimated Microsoft. Microsoft it almost looked like it was on the outs, even based on their operating systems, even though it was Apple, Microsoft, but then Chrome is coming out and just devastating the marketplace. But there's obviously a big place for proper OS platforms. This is a big move, Chip. I think, Microsoft coming back and saying, hey, we're a software-based company. We're going to prove it, and we're going to prove it with AI in a big way. Even if they had to buy into the AI, ChatGPT is onto something tremendous. It could be something tremendously good, or it could end up being something tremendously Terminator-ish. But we know it's moving in a direction like that, Chip, because it's ruffling some massive feathers to the point where they're trying to slow it down and shut it down. Yeah. So that's the question. Why are they trying to slow it down and shut it down as they are with crypto? What is the sore point that both of these are like, they're poking a stick in somebody's eye, and
Jeff,
they don't like it?
If there's a barometer in life and in the world, and the barometer is Jim Cramer. If Jim Cramer praises something, you are scared to death that whatever organization you are in is going to implode, right? Because he's sort of that weather bell, right? He's sort of that canary in a coal mine that's going to be the warning for everybody else to say, like, hey, it's time to run, it's time to hide, it's time to get out. Well, we also have somebody else as an economist, Jeff, and I want to get back to this other question here. We'll circle back to it, but I wanted to put this up, Jeff, to kind of like put some sense in this, okay? Probably one of the weakest human beings when it comes to calling himself an economist, who's been wrong about everything, but that doesn't stop him from continuing to bloviate. You know what I'm talking about. This is none other than Paul Krugman, okay?
Oh, yeah, another one.
So players Paul Krugman right there, he thinks he's brilliant, okay? So
he's a huge proponent of internet.
Look at this right here. So
Oh, wait.
1998. Oh, wait, what's this? So 1998, Paul Krugman, by 2005, this is what he said in 1998. By the year 2005, the internet's effect on the economy, no greater than a fax machine. Where's that buzzer, Jeff? Do we have that buzzer?
We're
Completely wrong. So in 2023, what does he say? And that's just one. There's so many other things. This comes to us from at Bitcoin News com on Twitter. So in 2023, Paul Krugman, AI probably shouldn't have a large effect on economic projections for the next decade. Where's that buzzer sound, Jeff?
I don't even know where to start with this one, right?
Gosh almighty, my gosh, what the hell? Boo. I mean,
holy shit. Like, let's not do that. That's a bad idea.
Yeah. A bad idea, right? So that's
bad idea. Born by. How does this guy still have a job? I don't understand. They should have stopped after his commentary on the internet. Say, hey, you know what? Maybe you don't get it. Maybe you're not forecasting out. And it's very clear that AI is going to is a major disruptor in the space. It's gonna just in general, forget about it if it's going to be in control of stuff. But like Ben Merganoff is saying, OpenAI is smart, but only as smart as the questions you ask it. And that's true. You still have to have your own intelligence to figure out what you want to get out of it. If you can figure out what you want out and you know how to kind of speak to it, you can have a full-blown conversation with it. I was doing some research, and instead of going to Google, I said, I'm going to try to use ChatGPT for the research. And it was an interesting outcome, and I kept drilling down, and I finally got the exact outcome. But in the process, it was answering all sorts of amazing questions. And it was just like a regular, like I was sitting there having a conversation with somebody, and instead of going to Google, and I could have looked and I could have read a whole bunch of things, instead, in a 5-minute span, I figured out a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to know, clarified. It was even able to drill down and get reviews that I wanted. And then it did a whole breakdown and summary of all sorts of different reviews. And so it's amazing. It's a disruptor. It could displace one of the big powerhouses that it could potentially displace right now is Google. I think Google is on the ropes, and that's a major issue. So see how that goes.
Yeah, it's a major issue because no matter, they've sunsetted so many projects, thousands of them, right? And where does Google really made their money on? Search revenue from, you type in what you were looking for, and those used to be first 3 results, then it was 5, now it's 10, and who knows how many. So that's all going to go by the wayside, because when you can, and especially if you look at how Bing has taken the code from OpenAI and incorporated ChatGPT in there, when you're actually looking for something now, it's giving you context around it. It's giving you what you asked for, not what they want to select for you. So it's almost
right.
It's almost a sort of like decentralization. But anyway, I want to throw this. Here's one more. Look at this.
So
check this out.
Chip here. So One Eye Willie said Google is going to buy it like they do all the time, but Microsoft beat them to it.
No, it's too late to buy it.
It's too late. Microsoft owns 51% of it. Whoops.
Look at this. I typed in Paul Krugman's failures, and I got so many results. Even on Google. Look at this on Google. Look at
what
this.
What was he saying about SVB? He's in favor of it.
Yeah, look at this right here.
Is he an early investor and a late investor?
Answer to Krugman on market failure. What things Paul Krugman has gotten very wrong. I mean, he's failed us. I mean, it's like, it's ridiculous. So here it is. So here's Nobel laureate Paul Krugman says bailing out SVB was sensible but annoying. Calls for tougher rules. We'll let that one slide. That's cool. I don't know. I really don't know how this guy is still even with. How could you be such a large failure like that and gotten it so wrong? I mean, I don't really.
Sensible, very sensible.
I don't know how he does it, Jeff. I'll be honest with you.
I'm just, man, what was this? Becky was saying maybe Paul Krugman went to the same school as Jim Cramer, or maybe they're cousins. maybe they hang out with each other. Maybe they share information and they kind of bounce ideas. Hey, could you imagine Jim and Paul hanging out? They're over there at the bar. Maybe they're meeting up for coffee or tea or whatever it is those guys are into. And they say, hey, I've got this amazing investment idea and I want to float it by, my viewers tomorrow. What do you think? And these guys are bouncing ideas back and forth. And then Jim Cramer comes out full bore. Yeah, this is a great investment idea. Just a month before it collapses.
Yeah, right on.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's again, there's a lot to unpack there, Jeff. But look at this right here. So let's talk about this tweet from John Deaton. This is great. It says an investment contract. It's one of the most misunderstood legal terms in the law, the Howey test, and it must be the most misapplied legal test or doctrine on social media, because a lot of people get this terribly wrong. Investment contract is a legal term of art adopted from state law by Congress when it enacted the 1933 Act. And then it goes on to say that, and according to the Securities Act of 1933, the term security means any note, stock, treasury stock, security future, security-based swap, bond, debenture, the evidence of indebtedness, the certificate of interest, or participation in any profit-sharing agreement. Collateral trust certificate, pre-organizational certificate, or subscription, transferable law. It's blah, 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 right? So it goes on to say, it names everything, right? Put the whole, everything, put the kitchen sink in there. Privilege or any security certificate of deposit or group of index securities or any interest therein based on the value of thereof, and put, call, straddle, option, privilege entered into. Sounds like a lot of legalese, because it pretty much is. Currency or in general, any interest or instrument commonly known as a security. Digital asset is not listed. Software code is not listed.
No.
So Jeff, he's making a really good point here, because like we're going to go back to 1933. This is how we have the powerhouse geniuses in Washington.
That was 90 years ago.
Thanks,
Holy cow.
Jeff.
Right? Is it 90?
You're so much better at math than I am, Jeff.
Yeah.
90 years ago. I would have been like 30, it's 23 and then 10. Okay, yeah, they're right. 90 years ago. 90 years ago is what were digital assets, not present. Cryptocurrency. Now, any of this language is not present in all of these digital asset SEC cases, Telegram, the Kit case, library.com, and Ripple. The only relevant term is investment contract.
And they've used it in every single one of them.
Yeah, every single one of them. And the Supreme Court in the Howey test in 1946 defined what constitutes an investment contract. A digital asset or cryptocurrency, software code, standing alone, not a security. It can be marketed, packaged, offered, or sold as an investment contract, otherwise known as a security. So in Telegram, it was made clear that the Gram token, not the security, wasn't the security. XRP, not the security. ETH, not the security. The oranges in the Howey case were not the security. The ETH ICO constituted an unregistered securities offering. Ripple may have offered or sold XRP as unregistered security on specific occasion, talking early days. But even if it's true, it doesn't make the underlying asset, that digital code, a security itself. So most important, when dealing with an investment contract, there hasn't been a single case in the U.S. history where the secondary sale of that asset was also found to be a security. Never, Jeff. It's never happened.
Just ask Gary.
And when the investor in the Howey brought the Orange Grove, they bought it directly from the Howey company. And that same investor sold the Orange Grove to a secondary buyer years later, a buyer with zero knowledge of the Howey company and its involvement. The subsequent sale, not a security. And this ties in beautifully to XRPs being sold on the secondary market. It doesn't matter that ETH ICO was a securities offering, ETH itself, not the security. It doesn't matter if Ripple sold XRP as a security sometime between 2013, 2018, because XRP is not the security. So every altcoin arguably starts out as a security when the first distributed ICO or not. And when Satoshi was the only miner of Bitcoin, one of the only few at least he offered 100,000 BTC for sale for 100,000 USD. It would have been an unregistered security offering. So the industry can't allow Gensler and the SEC and Bitcoin maxis to keep pushing an unconstitutional shortcut by calling themselves as securities. And the reason to bring this up, because there's so much craziness going on the internet. There he is, our boy Gary Gensler. Paul Grewal, who's the chief legal officer over at Coinbase, he put this out and he said, Mr. Deaton is exactly right. Investment contracts must include both investment and contracts as those terms set out by Congress and interpreted by the Supreme Court. Neither is present when it comes to secondary sales of digital assets. And he also quoted the tweet we just read in there as well for some.
This is huge. I mean, you think about, John Deaton representing now what, 76 to 80,000
It's up there, Jeff.
investors in the XRP space. It's a global. All those who feel damaged by the SEC action against Ripple. Gary Gensler coming out multiple times, making statements that making incorrect statements that everything is clear, and we just read that earlier, that we don't need any regulatory clarity. There's nothing that's critical in this space because he knows better, and he does not have a coherent understanding of security law, which is unbelievable, because he's now come into direct conflict and opposition with John Deaton. He's come into direct opposition and conflict with multiple congressional representatives like Warren Davidson and Tom Emmer. And I would say, even Ron DeSantis, governor in the great state of Florida, would be in direct opposition to what Gary Gensler believes. And the list goes on and on and on and on. But yet this guy, Gary Gensler, seems to know everything there is to know. It's clear. And that's it. That's all we need to understand. And it's a travesty, Chip, because John Deaton is 100% spot on. And somehow, in each one of these case outcomes, there has been no clear definition of that investment contract, which it's a shame because as he listed out in the 1933 law, it lists out so many things, but it doesn't reference software code. It doesn't reference cryptocurrencies sold in the secondary market. And
Nothing
Gary
that.
is, couldn't be wronger. He couldn't be more wrong.
Boom!
There you go, Gary. Wah, wah, wah.
Which one do you like better?
Ew.
People they're like, who's that guy? Oh, yeah, just a nut job. There he is, right there. What's up, Gary? How you doing, buddy? You are the joke. That's it. You are the joke. You are the punchline to every joke, man. What a
punchline of every.
What a moron. What a squadouche. Yeah, he's a squadouche. So now what this led Paul Grewal to saying all this stuff is that. So if he's telling Deaton's right about XRP and it's not the security, so everyone went nuts on Twitter this weekend and said, and it was all of a sudden, it's like, next thing you know, it's like Coinbase is going to relist XRP. And it was like, and there was no official word on this, but this is what we heard. Like, they're going to, it was like, what? Now, if you remember, if you guys have been around the space long enough, the original run up to the all-time high for XRP started with the rumor that XRP was going to get listed on Coinbase. It didn't happen at that time, but it ran up to 365, 364, whatever it was, $3.64, something like that. All based on that. So now everybody's like, well, how can you not relist it? And why do you care about what the Security Exchange Commission is going to do to you? You're already getting Wells notices for staking, which is that's a whole other issue. But it also falls under the same.
It's a major issue.
It's incredible that it's the same type of issue where, again, this whole idea of staking, where's the clear legislation around that where you can say, whether somebody can. I'm watching some of the comments here. Come on in. It's okay. It's all check the water. It's all good.
Jim D is saying Gensler would have shut down Henry Ford to prevent the horse and buggy enterprise from losing its monopoly, selling a shitty, non-scalable transport system. Shitty meaning horses. Horses are difficult to scale.
They're different. Well, Jeff, one of the famous things was they asked, Henry Ford famously said, of course, it was Carl Benz that really probably, they talk about the combustible engine, inventing it back in the 1800s, but, they credit Ford, but he said, if we gave people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses, right? That's what they would have wanted. But again, faster horses was not a possible thing. It wasn't going to reach scale, and setting up that assembly line is what allowed all of this to scale. I mean, you think about like innovation and where this is going. Jim D, I think you're spot on about that, because that's exactly what have happened. And if we go back to the internet, the internet would have closed. So I was out on the boat today, hanging out with some friends, my wife. We were having a great time, and we go right down where the cruise row is, where all the big cruise ships are. One was actually pulling out as we were like going by. I was like, it's just stealth maneuvers, man. It just like comes out. It's a massive, one of these massive, ships. And as we're going, we saw one of these. It's a modern day sailboat, really slim, cut through the water with the big masts. And one of the things that my buddy and I brought up together was to say, is like, he goes, just imagine when at the time, imagine how the steam engine changed everything. All of a sudden, the mast maker, the people that made the sails, the people that did all that work and sewed it together and put those and built those masts, completely eliminated and we're looking at all these boats sailing around, and they've got an outboard motor on it, and people are putting around up and down. It's it's relatively small size. Not people rowing. Of course, we did see a group of one of those row teams,
Rowers.
probably from the university, where they're rowing. I'm like, dude, that looks like a lot of work. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That's like
shit changed.
Yeah, it changed, but imagine how many people were put out of, like, you destroyed a whole industry. Not that it went away completely, but now we've got that same conversation again. And when we think about crypto, what's the industry it's killing, Jeff? What is the one industry that decentralization is killing? Twofold, right? Politicians, because guess what? If it's for we the people and we're decentralized, if you think about it that way, well, guess what? What do we need your representation for? This isn't the 1700s where we need you to go represent us, right? In Washington, we got to vote. We have a phone. We don't need you. We can have channel our own voices. We don't need. So that's a massive threat. So the governments are threatened by the decentralization, but these central banks, let's not mix up what a regular bank is versus a central bank. The central banks have the biggest exposure there, Jeff. And we see who they're rooting for, the central bank digital currency, which also, too, that and the Treasury can't mint that because they get their marching orders from where, Jeff? Congress.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot. That's a lot packed in. I mean, you think about all of that. You think about the direction that we've moved, how innovation has scaled. Think about those that have resisted innovation over the years. Think about, the technologies that have pushed us forward, like the printing press. Without the printing press, how would we have scaled education to the point? Without Ford and the assembly line, how would we have scaled the new generations of people that left home and didn't stay within a certain square mile radius and work on the family farms? And you started to see that family unit fragment as, people started traveling, everywhere. Point with the sail and moving to a motorized ship changed the way transport across the ocean changed dramatically. And industries shift, industries change. The horse whip, the horse buggies are now recreational. Sail boats are mostly recreational at this point. And still, all over the place. The movement from old-fashioned currency to a modern, more decentralized, and not just, it shouldn't, in our focus here, Chip, shouldn't just be on the currency aspect of it, but it's every aspect of how we're able to handle, manage our wealth, our kind of our day-to-day. Because if we're moving in a direction where government still maintains control over the outcome, what does that say for the people? And we've been rapidly moving into this direction for some reason over the past couple years, where the highest educational institutions around the world, that primarily those in the United States, that are somehow tricking those that are being educated that government can do no wrong, and actually government is the end all to their salvation, versus a body to say to the people that, hey, you need to be able to figure out how to do it on your own, and the university should be pumping out independent thinkers. Instead, they're pushing out communal thinkers. that will be more trending towards Marxism than independent thought, and towards, such a great representative of freedom that we have in this country, that has attracted people from all over the world that have come here because of the fact we now have fast ships, because of the fact that we have airplanes, because of the fact that we have freedom in this country. And why not have decentralization as a package to all of this, Chip?
Amazing, Jeff. I mean, incredible. Look at this right here. Check this out. Chokin Hamadan. So that's from Iran coming in there. So it's interesting. Yeah, Mercy Coco. Appreciate that coming in. Jeff, we're running out of time here. I gotta go. I gotta segment this one story here. So Evernote, we've talked about this project so many times before. And what is this? So it's seriously smart contracts on the XRPL, right? Smart contracts on the XRPL. It's a project that I've really been excited about, following closely. And this tweet was put out I think it might have been today. I don't know. I forget exactly. But so here's the announcement. We're moving to the latest hooks testnet to get ready for launch. Hosts should be ready to check out this GitHub announcement for more details. Begin preparing the switch. We'll soon relaunch the Evernote beta on the Hooks v3 testnet. Wow. Switch is the first step to being ready to launch on the sidechain when it goes live. This is crazy stuff. We anticipate being ready for the switch within 7 days. We'll provide another update once the beta is ready. You will then need to uninstall your current Evernote installation. It's people running all these nodes and stuff. It's a lot of technical jargon, but if we go back here, this is what the roadmap is. So if we look at April 22, which was what right on target here, private beta comes out by invitation only to the existing XRPL validators and devs we trust. No details will be published. Then in May 22, which is already a little bit delayed, the public beta will come out. That's delayed because they're porting to XRP Labs' new full feature testnet for hooks, which he explained in that series of tweets. And then they're looking to launch sometime around between December. Wait a minute, this is 22. I thought it was 23. Okay, we're behind schedule, Jeff. Holy crap. I thought we were on schedule, but we're a year behind. My God, what's going on here? I was like, wait a minute, March 23. So it looks, speaking of delayed, yeah, it's a little bit delayed, but the progress is happening there. Smart contracts coming to the XRPL. Do your own research, Jeff. DYOR, if you don't know what that means. But I'm pretty excited about that project. That's a really good one.
And also, you know which project I would like to see here, Chip, as iReal Media is saying the -- project on the XRPL should be putting our elections on there and secure our voice, bro.
You know what, Jeff? I can't agree with that enough, because I think we get the blockchain, we get to where you can validate, there's always going to be ways to beat it and go around it, but I think that it's a step in the right direction. The way we're doing it now is where, like, we take a card, we fill it out by hand, then we have the digital machines, and there's all kinds of craziness going on with that. But does anybody really trust what the results are anymore? It's like, it's hard to know exactly what's real, what's not real. So that's I would feel better about blockchain, because it's totally transparent. It's one vote per person, and there's going to be some biometrics involved right there. You gotta verify who you are. Can't multiple vote, and since it would be recorded on the blockchain, there'd be should be no funny business, right? In theory, Jeff, would you think? Jeff,
I think so.
Okay, I was just see if you're still there. I was to see if you, but I think in theory could definitely be could be something there. I think for sure.
I think so. It's good stuff. It's amazing. K-HUD missed everything.
Oh, K-HUD, come on, man.
Starting from scratch.
That's okay. It happens. It'll happen.
So One Eye Willie's question is, will you guys go live after the decision comes down, good or bad? Yeah, I mean, 100% we'll be here. Now, here's the thing. If there's a decision and it's good, there's a high probability chance that the SEC appeals it. If the decision comes down and it's bad, there's a high probability chance that Ripple appeals it. So there's going to be a lot of disco. It's going to be interesting, though, because when it does come down to this, I'd like to see it go to jury. to trial and really, start dissecting this thing. I want to see Gary Gensler up there, just crying. But if this is the case, I mean, it could be, in that case, Chip, we could be here in 2024, and then all of a sudden there's a whole new administration in power. There's a whole new SEC, new chair. Things might look a lot different too. So
could look an awful lot different, Jeff. I mean, that's
Apex Crypto saying this case ends at the Supreme Court regardless of its outcome.
Yeah, I agree with that. So the Howie lost the first two, lost the appellate court, it lost the first two. No, it won the first two and lost in the Supreme Court. But this one wins in the Supreme Court. I have zero doubts about going to the Supreme Court and getting a ruling on that, because really it's West Virginia versus EPA, that overreach there. We have the same kind of overreach going on here, but also too, there's no fraud alleged. And this whole idea of stretching the secondary market, it will absolutely come down to instead of having the Howey test, we'll have the Ripple test. The Ripple test will define it. And attorneys, like John Dean, the brilliance of saying, okay, well, let's go back to the 1933 law and let's go back to it. Where does it say any of this stuff? Go ahead and read that, Jeff.
This is a good one. Jim D says, Jeff and Chip won't have time to go live because on a case result, if in favor of Ripple, because everyone's going to be trading into green candles.
That could be yeah, it doesn't matter. If any kind of win, it doesn't matter what happens on appeal. It really won't matter, because and everybody can relist it, because that's the current, and until something else changes. But if it ends up in the Supreme Court, I don't even know, quite honestly, if the SEC really, they get laid out in the first round, they want to appeal it, is it going to be friendly for them? Or what it'll eventually do if it heads to the Supreme Court is it will change it forever. And it may be the best clarity, and still could happen before Congress acts. So the whole thing of it going to the Supreme Court doesn't bode well for the SEC almost no matter what happens. I don't see that turning out to be a good thing.
The SEC is a disaster. It was a disaster from the moment they dropped this, and it was from one chair to another. And so now we got Gary Gensler's been overseeing this thing for the past, 2+ years. So, it's all on him now.
Gary the goofball Gensler. Well,
Gary the goofball.
Gary the nut job. Yeah. I mean, he's just tripping on power, man. Just take your $120 million and go retire like most people do, man. Come on. But anyway, it's a friendly time for the
look at this, NFTs.
For the badass Yetis, guys. We're
getting
ever closer to launching, which is a very good thing. Super psyched about that. Hang on a second. Let me just do something real quick here. Let me just remove that for a second.
Got a whole bunch of cool ones going on. While you're looking that up, Leo Brazil Crypto said, did you guys see Danelle Dixon from Stellar saying now is the time to go all in?
I didn't see that, but yeah, I mean, that's Danelle Dixon from the I'm having brain fade right now. Stellar Foundation, right on. So here we go, right here. So this right here, got two from the Titans right here. Oh, I guess we jump right into Pathfinders. So right into the Pathfinders. There you go. And then we've got how
cute they are.
There you go. That's a Templar. Then we've got the Frostbeards and the Shiver Spines, which Jeff says
Shiver Spines.
Horribly scary, right? Those Shiver Spines.
Terrifying.
Man.
Oh, they're terrifying.
The Mentalists.
They don't want to run into him at night.
And finally, winding it down here with the Spirit Walkers. So there you go. There's all the badass Yetis. And the badass Yetis, as you guys know, we will be announcing a date. We're getting close. We actually believe it's probably within 2 weeks, hopefully. Fingers crossed. A lot of things have to come together, but I'm pretty excited about launching this project.
So far, so good.
We'll be doing giveaways. There'll be a lot of cool stuff happening.
Wait, that's the yelling
Yeti. The giant skull. It's yelling Yeti. Yeah, people are asking us, are you going to do a Gary Gensler Yeti? No, we would never pollute our project with anything like that, with the Jerome Powell or any of that. By the way,
that'd be horrible.
Yeah, I don't think we want to get there, Jeff. I mean, do we really want to get there? I say no. Yeah. I say nay.
Mark says, if you both don't dress up as Yetis, I'm going to be deeply disappointed. We're going to go one beyond that. We're going to do a rap, ETH style.
Can you imagine that, Jeff? How funny would that be?
No, I would not be.
Can you imagine that? I mean, really, quite
We'd
honestly.
be turned into a meme and one of these overnight.
It would definitely be turned into a meme, and that would be frightening. So I wanted to conclude with this, Jeff. Let me just do this here. Let me stop this. I gotta share this screen here. Yeah, we gotta get into this here. Let's go into this. Make sure we're sharing audio. And this here, I put this together yesterday, and I did it on my phone, Jeff, which I love. But
that was pretty good. Man,
here it is right here, guys. This guy's gets you bumped here. So this is the SEC v. Ripple. Retweet if you know. Hang on a second. Let me retweet if you know Ripple will win. And I wanted to see how many people would retweet it. So 397 retweets so far. 7 people quoted it. 691 likes. 10 people bookmarked it. That's
40,000 views. Oh, yeah. You can bookmark stuff.
Yeah, you can bookmark it, but we didn't have that metric before. Now we know that 10 people saved this.
Right. That's nice.
Use.
I like
so
that.
Here we go right here, guys. This is a short little 43-second video, but let's listen in, okay? Let's go, Ripple. Bring home the win. Let's do this. Let's do it. So there you are. You want to get pumped up, guys? Go to that. Go click on that. Have yourselves a lot of fun. But that's it was something I had a little bit of fun with yesterday, and threw that up there. And I'm so happy to see a lot of people retweet and stuff. And some people put comments up like, this isn't a cult or a religion. Doesn't matter what I think. And I was like, dude, we're just having a little bit of fun. Let's not get like carried away with cults and religion. But it's like, and let me just share the screen again, because there were some funny comments here. The people chimed in.
Commentary on that. Let's see.
Someone had some. So CryptoView said, I hope Judge Torres sees this. That's going to totally influence her mind, right? I mean, I believe that we will win, Digital Dynamics says, well, it's only a matter of time. And there's a little Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, there you go.
On an XRP face.
Now that's a cool NFT timepiece.
Right? And of course, here we go. Costa Rica XRP. Manifest it. There you go. Just like that. It's super simple. I think is that
it's
Kelly?
Been started.
Kelly. Yeah. So Kevin Rose, easy, no doubt. Super easy, man. Super easy. Damn, that was great. Let's see what else we have. They will, not sure which decade though. That's one of the comments, and nobody knows. All we can do is hope. And this one right here, yeah, man. Indoctrination. If Ripple loses, so does the US. And this is the guy right here. He wrote it. He wrote it in a comment. Then he retweeted it with this is Dan, the future holds crypto. He says, it doesn't matter what I believe. This is not a religion. I was tempted to respond saying, Dan, you may be right. Nobody really does care what you think. But I do appreciate him sharing this. But he's got a point here. It's like, it doesn't matter what you believe. But I was saying, retweet it if you think they're going to win. If you don't, keep it to yourself. Don't talk to anybody. But However, looking at the data we have so far and the progress of the lawsuit, I think we have a good chance if the verdict is to weigh more towards Ripple / free market side. So Dan's landing some good points there. The enemy of my enemy is escrow account. Juju said these posts are getting old. Juju, very upset. Juju, I take it is from Canada.
Juju, Canadian. It says Canada? Juju Canadian. What, you think so? With a Canadian flag and Juju the Canadian.
Yeah, so there it is right there. It's like, so Juju's there's no bio in there. Just Juju the Canadian. It's just old, Jeff. Look at these posts.
They're getting old.
By the way, there are a lot of these posts about we believe we can win. I mean,
I've seen at least 1,000 of them today.
And by the way, I changed it because Jungle Link, I had on there. If you think Ripple will win, and Jungle Link said, change it to no. And I did. He goes, okay, now it's worthy of a retweet.
It was awesome, dude. It was awesome. No one has done anything like that. It was brand new. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows, man? It was a lot of fun. By the way, I lifted that from the 2014 season of the men's national team for soccer. We did believe they were going to win, and they lost horribly.
Wait, don't say that. Don't.
Well, that was them. Oh, it has good luck with this thing though. Look at this guy. This guy says, "Dude, weak as F."
What? Boo.
Weak as F. Crypto Karaoke. Let's see what Crypto Karaoke's got going on here. 169 followers. Official Crypto Karaoke Twitter account. Yep, the real me.
Yep.
Did you know there's Crypto Karaoke?
I had no idea there was Crypto Karaoke or Twitter Karaoke or anything like that.
Leonard Stewart said people all seem to forgot. I don't know. Bitcoin hit 65,000 in mid 2021 and went all the way back to 28,000 in the summer before coming back to 65,000 again. Y'all check and follow Bitcoin because she's super underrated Bitcoiner. So
that's right. Bitcoin's coming back.
Keep your emotions intact during the big profitable runs. Maintain emotional neutrality. Don't do anything crazy, Jeff. The degree to which you exalt euphoria is the same degree to which you will emotionally suffer challenging times. Well, and then more follow so-and-so. So like the bots got me. Follow this person.
You got smacked with the bot.
I got botted. So there you go. Doesn't matter. Drives the numbers.
You got botted. Jim D says, what is the source of that female moan track? On the making babies consumption side of the process or on the delivery side of it?
No, that was
actually neither side of it.
Denver.
That's even funnier. It was Denver.
I gotta be able to.
It was their Ethereum song in Denver, and then she subsequently follows up their horrible performance with a speech and references Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. This is the source. Guys.
So this is the song they did. It came out in these, like, you want to talk about cult? They came out in like these orange jumpsuits or glitter jumpsuits. I don't know what that was, right?
Because they were sending them to jail.
It might be. It might be. But then, so here is the actual. Let's see. Hang on a second. Let me find this.
Mallory said apparently Biden screened Gary's mental ability before hiring him and found nothing. Then forgot a minute later why Gary was there.
Here it is. Here's where it's from.
Let's do a joke about Satoshi.
Oh, that's right.
Too soon, Jeff, this joke. Too soon and not funny enough. I used to the audience just like, so then she realizes that she stepped in it big time.
The only thing that disappeared faster than Satoshi was all of our money in FTX.
There you go. So that's where we lifted it from right there.
The only thing that disappeared faster than Satoshi was all of our money in FTX.
That's great.
So that's where we actually lifted that from.
That's so
it's like,
awesome.
and that's where we get a Brad Garlinghouse wisdom coming in.
Holy shit! Like, let's not do that. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, like holy shit, you're right. That's like that is a bad mamma jamma, Jeff. Bad mamma jamma, no good.
Why do the Ethereum people think they're supposed to go up on stage?
I don't know. They go on stage often and they do silly stuff, but that's all we have, guys. I want to thank everybody for being here. Really appreciate you guys. Appreciate your support. Thank you, K-Hud. Always appreciate your support. And all of a sudden, I want to recognize all the members that joined on YouTube as well. Thank you, guys. See a lot of you in here tonight. If you guys want to join and help out the channel too, you can go ahead and click the join button. And good luck finding it. I don't know. I've looked for it myself. I can't really find it. It's buried there somewhere. You gotta like scroll on mobile, and it's like they don't make it easy. That's for sure. But maybe that's part of the plan, the master plan. I don't know.
And also a big shout out to Carla Spalding, who will be running against Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and for Carla's up and coming guest spot here with us on the chain. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of great things. And Chip, I just want to make a quick announcement here at the end that this was, just in case Norseman shows up, this was all pre-recorded. pre-recorded, and oh, look at that. Norseman just showed up.
Oh, wait,
look at
what?
that.
What's this? Norseman's here? Oh.
Norseman's here. Look at that. And he showed up in our pre-recording. We actually put that in there.
The good news is, Jeff, is we always know he's going to watch.
We always knew he's going to watch.
So we can bring it up, and we'll be
That's
right. Because we can manifest his look at this
went
burn plane crash right there. Yeah, absolutely. But that's all we got, guys. We will see you, Chip and Jeff out. See you guys on the next one, which will be Wednesday at 8:00. Jeff, anything before we get out?
That's it. I want to give a quick shout out to everybody here with us. You guys are awesome. Check out Carla Spalding. Go look her up. You guys are amazing.
Support her, guys.
Support her, and we'll have a lot of details to share about Carla when she is here with us. Do a quick announcement to our show schedules. Sunday, you guys are here with us 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys are amazing, and we will check you guys out on
the next one. Chip and Jeff. Oh, see you guys.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.